Good morning, Inner Lights Ministry. My name is Leah Morris, and when this song becomes familiar to you, I hope you'll sing along. Feet in the grass as the day turns to night. Wake with the sun, lean toward the light, listening to the music of life. Everything makes a sound. Feet in the grass as the day turns to night. Wake with the sun, lean toward the light, listening to the music of life. Everything makes a sound. Feet in the grass, feet in the grass, as the day turns to night, as the day turns to night. Wake with the sun, wake with the sun, lean toward the light, lean toward the light, listening to the music of life. Everything makes a sound. Feet in the grass, feet in the grass, as the day turns to night, as the day turns to night. Wake with the sun, wake with the sun, lean toward the light, lean toward the light, listening to the music of life. Everything makes a sound.
Thank you. Thank you, Leah Morris, for that musical invocation. Leah is hailing to us from Germany, and I just love technology.
Yes, like magic.
It's like magic. So thank you. You're going to be hearing more from Leah during our service today. I'm Reverend Deborah Johnson. This is Inner Light Ministries. And we invite you to just settle in, to fellowship with us for a while, where we commune, where we celebrate life, where we remember to remember. We come here to put into practice the truth that we know about the divine as our very lives. Inner Light Ministries is an omni-faith outreach ministry. We're dedicated to spiritual transformation. We provide tools for living that encourage the practical application of universal spiritual principles to all of life's circumstances. Because our aim is healing through the energy of love and the revealing of our own inner light. And as an Omni Faith ministry, we embody spiritual oneness. We appreciate individualized expressions and honor all paths that lead to truth. Not all paths, but all paths that lead to truth. See, the truth is redemptive. The truth is all inclusive. The truth is compassionate and loving and embracing. The truth is liberating. It is eternal. It can't be contained within a doctrine or a creed. It's beyond historical context. It can't be localized. Because that truth is everywhere present. And I'm telling you now, if you have a spiritual practice that is so incredibly defined that it excludes anything and everything else, I want to just have you think about that a little bit. Because when something's really the truth, you're going to be able to see it everywhere. So when you hear the truth, part of you goes, you know what? Wow, that sounds like just look what my grandma used to say. Or, gee, that sounds a bit Buddhist. That even sounds a bit Jewish. I can hear Islam in there. Gee, that reminds me of some kind of African proverb, that there's a resonance that's there. Just like with music. When music really hits and soothes your soul, its cultural context doesn't matter anymore. You may not even be cognitively aware of what the lyrics are. It doesn't matter because it has such a vibration that it's healing. That's what we're all about here at this ministry. We're about that fundamental, beyond culture, beyond time, beyond space. What are those kernels of truth that heal? That you can practically apply them. You don't have to just speak of them in some ancient times, or some other person's culture. If it's truly relevant and really true, it'll be the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. The truth don't get old. It's always fresh. And it's always new. At Inner Light, we say we provide you tools for living. These are literally like a tool, like you have a tool chest. There's things that you can pick up, you can use. But once again, a tool is only as good as you use it. How many tools do we have that we don't do anything with? That piece of exercise equipment that's just a clothes valet because you're not using it. Nothing wrong with the equipment, but it would work a lot better for you if you work it. If you work it, it'll work you. Such as it is with truth in consciousness. At Inner Light, every week, we offer you 100 words. 100 words literally to change your life. 100 words to transform your experience. They are principles. They are practices. They are precepts. They are pieces of truth, kernels of wisdom and understanding. And if you dare to say them, if you dare to repeat them enough to let yourself embody them, you will find that there's a recalibration that takes place. that you get yourself more in alignment with divine design. You're less botherable. The world doesn't have so many connections to you and strings that are, jerking you around. 100 words every week. Affirmative activations. Reminders of truth. And if you are in any way able to repeat these affirmations with me right now as they appear on your screen, I invite you to do so, as well as to come back and repeat them later. The universe is self-organizing and self-correcting. Imbalances are responded to immediately. Every effort is made to restore to divine design. Muddy water settles. A blade of grass will tirelessly work its way through the cement. Smoke dissipates. Fires die down. Flowers bloom again in their season. I am part of the self-correcting energy of life. Divine order is my drum major. I give way to right action. My life is forever realigning itself with divine purpose. Willingly, I readjust. Without reservation, I get back on course. With no desire to control, I have the privilege of living in grace. So just breathe that in for a moment. And I am going to invite Leah Morris to come back and give us another offering to help just prepare our consciousness for the message today.
Thank you so much, Reverend. So once again, I would like to invite you to sing the refrain on this song. And it is very simple. Every day, every day, every day wonder. Every day, every day, every day one. Every day, every day, every day wonder. Every day, every day, every day one. Something within embraces the ocean. Something within melts into the shore. Something within stands still like a mountain. And we become one with them. Every day, every day, every day wonder. Every day, every day, every day one. Every day, every day, every day wonder. Every day, every day, every day one. Something within cries out to the heavens. Something within belongs to the sea. Something within seeks hope in the desert. Because we are one with them. Every day, every day, every day wonder. Every day, every day, every day one. Every day, every day,
Let's just breathe that in. Thank you, Leah. Thank you so much. All the way from Germany. I love it. Ain't God good? Ain't God good? Our digital allies, this extraordinary thing called technology that can allow us to connect. I'm sitting here on the edge of the west coast of the United States in California, an area called Santa Cruz on the Monterey Bay, and to be connecting all the way. And what I know is that wherever it is that you are, whatever time of day that it is, whatever day of the week, whenever it is that you're tuning into this, that in the divine there is no time and space, and that it's the right time for you. Even if this is your second or third or fourth time listening to this, I know that every time you listen, you receive a fresh new revelation. What I tell people all the time, don't just listen to me, listen to what I'm listening to. The Buddhists have a saying that the words of the spiritual leaders are like fingers pointing towards the moon. Don't get stuck on the finger. Okay, don't get stuck on the finger. And like, listen to the message. Listen to the message. There's truth that's available everywhere. Don't discount it because of where you think that it's coming from. Old folks used to have a saying that the truth will be told, even if it takes a liar to tell it. Truth will be told. That's why they know how to flip people into telling the truth. The people who were part of the crime themselves are the very ones who can turn around and give you the answers, because the truth will be told, even if it takes the liar to tell it. Part of the reason why I'm saying this is because sometimes we get disillusioned with spiritual leaders, or we get disillusioned with elders or relatives or people that we're holding in high esteem. And because they've messed up with their life, then we have a tendency to want to reject what it is that they've said, or to reject the things that they were teaching us. Don't turn your back on your own spirituality because of somebody else's abuse. Okay, don't turn your back on your spirituality because of the abuses that have happened in the institutions of churches. Don't turn your back on your own love and potential of relationships because of what other people have done with whatever institutions of marriage. Don't let yourself get cut short because of somebody else. I remember when I was first coming out the closet decades ago, and it really sunk in that I was not going to allow the smallness of somebody else's thinking to dictate the fullness of my life experience. No, no. It doesn't matter what they call you, only what you answer to. Only what you answer to. Our topic today is about continuously realigning. I cannot say enough how important it is to not only develop the practice, but to have the daily intent to continuously realign. Life is not a destination. It's not. Life is a journey. Life is about the process of living, not arriving at some specific place. We live in a very goal oriented society where we're always rushing to get someplace. There's no place to go. I want you to feel that there's no place to go. And wherever it is that you are, God is there. Sometimes we say that God is everywhere present. And we kind of think of it like in every spot, God somehow manages to be there. No, it isn't just that God is everywhere present. God is all presence. God is omnipresence, not just omnipresent. God is all knowledge, not just all knowledgeable. God is pure omniscience. God is omnipotence itself. Not just omnipotent, not just all powerful, but all power itself. So when we say that God is everywhere present, it isn't that God is just in all of the everys of everywhere, but all there is the divine. That's all that there is. There's just one power, there's just one presence, there's just one energy, there's just one force. Everything is happening on the stage of the divine. In God, we live and move and have our being. We get into a lot of fallacious discussions sometimes about, quote unquote, where is God? Is God out there? Is God in here? Is God up there? Is God like E? All of the above is the answer. E, all of the above. It's like we have air in our lungs because we're walking around in air. In God, we live, we move, and we have our being. This only thing that has created everything out of itself. In Hebrew, it's referred to as the Elohim, both the masculine and the feminine, the Elohim, that creative energy and force that's breathed the breath of life into us as human beings, the nefesh, this breath of life that animates everything, is the truth of our being. We are one with the only thing that is. This power, this presence is forever just being itself. Regardless of what goes on, regardless of what doesn't go on, regardless of what human beings do, regardless of the weather or whatever, life just keeps being life. There's a constant state of restoration. There's a constant state of rejuvenation. If anything gets off, the universe will try everything that it possibly can to bring it back into alignment. Even something like a little bitty paper cut on your finger. There are processes that are going to rush in immediately to bring healing to bear. Everything turns towards restoration. Everything moves towards revitalization because that's the nature of the divine. It is to restore. In our very westernized, colonialistic thinking. We want to master things. We want to know. We want to get it right. And we want to get it so right and to master it so well that we don't have to do it anymore. So that in our minds, mastery makes us exempt. Once I got this down pat, I can let that go. I don't have to do that anymore. I can do my check it off the to-do list. Whatever. Forgiveness. Checked off. Enlightenment. Checked off. I'm enlightened now. Boom. It's over. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. Everything is always cyclical. It's recycling. Everything is circular. There's nothing linear. We think of life as this linear journey, and we're such a rush to get somewhere. There's no place to go. Even what we think of linear is just a series of cycles from one year to the next year, January, February, March, April. One day to the next, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. It's cycles within cycles. Cycles within cycles. When a rocket goes to the moon, the rocket is only on course maybe 5% of the time. 95% of the time, it's in a constant state of correcting, of readjusting, of realigning, of coming back into balance, getting back on track, like literally. And this is kind of how it is with our lives. You might have a small percentage of the time that you feel just on it. I mean, like really on it. Like you get it, it's clicking, life is good, God is good, you love everybody, you're in gratitude, these peak moments, experiences that we have sometimes. And what I find typically happens with us is that we enjoy it for a moment, but then we start judging ourselves about, well, why don't I feel this more often? Or why did I forget from the last time that I felt this? What keeps getting in my way of being able to experience this on an ongoing basis? What's wrong with us that we keep forgetting? I think you'll recognize this pattern that I'm talking about, where we spend all of our time analyzing why it is that we're off, as though somehow or another the continuous indulgence of that is somehow or another going to get us on track. It doesn't work like that. There's this old joke about this guy that goes to psychiatrist because he's very, very tenacious about biting his fingernails all the time. So after about 6 months, his friends ask him, how's it going, that psychiatrist? He said, oh, it's really, really going well. I said, oh, really? Yeah. Well, are you still biting your nails? Well, yeah, I'm still biting my nails. But at least I know why. At least I know why. And for so many of us, we make knowing why we're off the great prize that we're seeking. We have discussions about it. We talk about it, in our social media. We form support groups all around, like all of the reasons why we're off. Knowing why you're off in and of itself does not get you on. It can help, but it can only help if you treat it like that finger pointing towards the moon, where it's pointing you in a direction. But to make the change, you have to spend more time focusing on what you do want to experience. If I'm training to be a gymnast, let's just say I'm working out on the balance beam. Chances are those first few months, I'm gonna be spending like 97, 98% of the time falling off. Okay. The amount of time that I'm actually going to be able to like really stay up on there is probably going to be minuscule to the amount of time that I spend falling off. But where's the focus of my attention going to be? Am I going to spend all of my time focusing on the 97, 98% of the time that I keep falling off? Or am I going to give myself praise and credit and recognition for the fact that, oh, wow, I actually spent 2 seconds on. I spent 3 seconds on. Wow, last week I could only do 5 seconds. This week I could do 10. See, this is the kind of consciousness that we have to get into, where we are excited about the progress. We give ourselves credit for it, where it doesn't matter how small of a shift or a change it can be, that incremental shift or change towards the direction of our vision is monumental. It's monumental. You might have spent, if you're in recovery, maybe you spent the whole day, most of the day, trying not to take that drink. Okay. But if you went to a meeting, if you were able to be around some people and like you didn't take that drink, you want to give yourself credit for that. Because in that moment, you are aligning with your vision. In that moment, you're aligning with your vision. Our ego likes to take credit for stuff. When our ego cannot take credit for our success, then our ego wants to take credit for our failure. Listen to what I'm saying. Our ego just likes to take credit. When it can't take credit for our success, then it wants to take credit for our failure. Look at me. What a big mess I've made. You can't move forward until you figure out what's wrong with me. You have to spend all your time figuring out, well, what's up with me? And what do I want? And why do I keep going back and doing the same old things over and over again? You know, you don't even, you can't even move forward to the direction in which you want to go, because you got to spend all your time trying to figure me out. That's the insidiousness of our ego self. This is when you got to just shh. There's an old spiritual about hush, hush. Somebody's calling my name. Hush, hush. Somebody's calling my name. That's that place that we have to get into. Where you're saying to the outer world, hush. Hushy, I see you over there. Yeah, I see the problem. I see the drama du jour. I see this thing or that thing. But rather than go down that rabbit hole of anger or judgment or guilt or shame or blame, you know what? I'm going to keep my eye on the prize. I'm going to keep my eye on the prize. Something's calling my name. Sounds like freedom. Sounds like grace. Sounds like justice. Sounds like love. Something calling my name. Breathe that in. It's a continuous realignment. A continuous. My whole game plan has shifted. And I want to invite you to shift yours as well. Don't stress yourself out so much about always being right, or always getting it right, or always being on. Do some assessments. Give yourself credit for the realigning that you did. So at the end of the day, when I'm assessing what's happened and whatnot that day, instead of just being mad at myself for getting off or letting somebody get on my nerves or whatever, I can take an assessment and go, did I check myself quickly? How long was I off? Did I recognize being off and then choose to change? See, it's one thing if I recognize being off and then I spend all my time yapping and talking about why I'm off. But it's another to let that go and make the shift and to make the change. So how different would your life be if you spent your time not beating yourself up for not getting it right or not being in alignment, but if you spent your time building self-corrective measures? I love the way that Howard Thurman puts this. He says, so that with unconscious awareness and deliberate intent, he can be a more gracious and loving human being. With unconscious awareness and deliberate intent, where your intent is so deliberate that you're not even consciously aware that you're doing it anymore because it's that ingrained. It's that embodied. See, that's the definition of mastery that I invite you to adopt, where mastery isn't about you learning so much that you get to be exempt from doing it anymore, but quite the contrary, where you're such a master, you couldn't imagine a day of your life not being in practice. That You were so dedicated to whatever it is, your prayer work. You're so dedicated to the loving compassion. You are so dedicated to being dedicated that there's no person, place, or thing, circumstance that can get you that off. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and we were just joking about this. And he was reminding me of a phrase that I say sometimes, where I explain that, like, when people say they've got to hit the bottom first, like, the bottom is not a quantifiable number, that there's no like specific bottom. It's a qualitative thing, and you get to determine what the bottom is. So a ladder, or like rungs or something like that, and you say, well, you got to hit the bottom to really find God. Well, if you found God at the 10th rung, you passed up the divine at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You didn't have to go all the way down to 10. There's not more God at 10 than there is at 2. There's not more God in the Himalayas, at the mountaintop. It's all the divine. So what this person and I were joking about yesterday is a phrase that I will use sometimes, is I say, my bottom is just higher. My bottom is higher. I won't let myself go so low anymore, because I'm in more of a state of continuous realignment. The thrill is gone. I don't want to be off. It doesn't feel good. My life doesn't work. Self-righteousness, it just costs too much. It costs joy. It costs peace. It costs wholeness. It costs connection. Yeah, you can be right. You can be right all by your little right self. Is it worth it? Is the estrangement worth it? I don't think so. I find that life is so much sweeter when I just choose to realign. So, yeah, I might have a good justifiable reason for being angry. So what? So what? Is that going to bring more peace? Is that going to bring more aliveness? Is that going to bring more joy? Continuous realignment. Let that be your goal. Let that be your intention, so that you actually set your life up. If this were a recovery program, and I keep using that because I think in actuality, it's like we're all recovering from life. We're all recovering from our bad habits. We've all become addicted to all of that stuff. So when you're in recovery, you don't wait. You already know where you're going to be vulnerable. You already know where you're going to be susceptible. So there's certain circumstances you don't put yourself in. Or if you know you're going to be there, you already have your support systems. You already have a buddy, accountability buddy who's going to be there with you. You have music that you're going to listen to. You have alternative things for you to eat or to drink that don't trigger you back into the old behaviors. You have reminders that are all over the place. You have meetings that you go to. You have people that you hang out with and people that you don't hang out with. You've structured your day to make certain that you don't slip, that you can catch yourself and readjust. Well, that's the way it should be with everything about your life all the time. All the time. So I have reminders that are everywhere. Even things like my screensaver names are reminders for me to like get back on track. There's music that I listen to. I have prayer partners that I pray with on nearly a daily basis. There's literature that I read. There's cutoff times when there I don't consume news just first thing in the morning or like last thing at night. No, 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 no. I make sure that I'm feasting on things that are inspirational and good spiritually nutritious, not just a bunch of junk food. I wouldn't do that to my body, so I'm not going to do that to my mind. See? It's a continuous realignment, continuous getting back to center, continuously choosing, re-choosing time and time and time again. Let that be your practice. That's why they call it a practice, because it's something that we always have to do. I'm going to close on this story. I know I've told it before, but it just struck me so. Where there was a Buddhist monk who was being interviewed. And I believe I first heard this story from Thich Nhat Hanh around a friend of his, where this particular Buddhist monk had been imprisoned for over 30 years by the Chinese. When he was finally released, he was asked about his experience in prison. And they said, were there ever times when you were afraid? He says, oh, yeah. There were times I was very afraid. I said, what was the scariest thing for you? What were you the most afraid of? And I loved his answer. He said, I was afraid I was going to lose my compassion for the Chinese. That's what I was the most afraid of. He was afraid that he was going to lose compassion for his captors. And I can understand why he would have been so afraid of that. Because if he had lost that compassion, they'd have won. He wouldn't be the monk anymore. They were trying to break him. And if he stopped being compassionate, then he would have been broken. I can't imagine that choice that he must have had to make on a daily basis throughout the day to keep realigning with his understanding and his spiritual truth, with his deep commitment to the oneness of all sentient beings, and to live there in spite of what anybody else was doing, including what they were doing to him. That's what I'm talking about. A continuous realigning so that you stay true to you. Where you are not conformed to this world, to this age, but you are continuously renewed by the transforming of your mind, which means all of you, your heart, your soul, your emotions. your thoughts. Speaking of continuously realigning, let's do some now. One of the best forms of realignment that you can do is this thing called prayer. Let's pray. We're just going to turn within in this moment. Create in us a clean heart, oh God, and renew a right spirit within us. Create in us a clean heart and renew a right spirit within us. In this moment right now, we choose to realign. The Lord is our shepherd. We want for nothing. We allow ourselves to be led by the green pastures and the still waters. We cooperate. In this moment right now, we say thank you. Thank you, Mother, Father, God. Thank you, Spirit Almighty, the great I am that I am. Thank you. Thank you for loving us, caring about us, for supporting us, for providing for us, for opening doors for us. Manna from heaven. All needs met. All needs met. I say thank you. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for never giving up on us. Ever. For your grace that is truly sufficient. Your grace, your provision for us just because. Just because. In this moment right now, we dedicate our lives. We dedicate our lives to being transparencies for the divine. To do the work and to do the will of the divine. To love, to care, to support, to serve, to forgive, to uplift, to inspire, to encourage. How sweet it is to be used by the divine. I give thanks in this moment for that joy. Weeping may endure through the night, but joy comes in the morning. Thank you for that peace of mind, that peace that passes all human understanding. Where even in the midst, we can feel free. Even in the midst. Thank you for opening our time-blinded eyes, third eye clear, so that we can see beyond what we can see, because our powers of discernment are so keen. We say thank you for the healing of the body temple. Thank you for healing our financial body, our body politic. We give thanks for all of the elements cleansing properties of the water, the alchemy, transformation of the fire, the sustaining, nurturance, sustenance of the earth. The clarity, the fresh wind. Breath of life that animates our being. If we had 10,000 tongues, it wouldn't be enough to say thank you. We just get out the way. And we know whether it's our house or the White House. Same God. Bringing peace everywhere. Wholeness everywhere. Not our will. Not our will. But thine be done. I know that it's so. We get out of the way. We allow it. And so it is. Amen. As we breathe that in, I want to remind you that Inner Light is a praying spiritual community. And we have a prayer ministry, prayer practitioners that are available, waiting, desiring to uplift you in prayer. You can call us at our telephone number, 831-465-9090, extension 254. As you can see scrolling on your screen now. You can send us an email, number 4, then prayer at our URL, innerlightministries.com. These people have been training. They've trained at least 3 or 4 years to have the capacity to speak the truth for you, with you, over you. Whatever the circumstance and the condition is, whatever the prayer request is. And, even if it's not crisis, even if it's something good or wonderful, you're birthing something or bringing something forth, let us stand in agreement with you as well, because when 2 or more gather together, something happens there. So please avail yourself of our prayer service. I also want to remind you that our Inner Light Food Bank has relocated. We are now at Santa Cruz Bible Church, which is close to Soquel and Frederick area in the Santa Cruz area. You can find out about all the extraordinary things that are going on by going to our calendar. On the 3rd Sunday of every month, this is 3rd Sunday today, that at sunset, we meet at the beach. It's family affair, and bring the kids and bring the bubbles, and we meet at the end of 14th Avenue there at the Bluff. And it's a wonderful time to get together. There's plenty of opportunities throughout the month. Check us out on our calendar to see what's going on and what's happening. And I've been mentioning for the past couple of weeks, and I say thank you to all of you who have been making contributions. We're sending our teenagers off to camp again. Inner Light Ministries is an independent New Thought church, and our teens participate. They have for over 20 something years with the Centers for Spiritual Living. They've bought a new campsite now in Eugene, in the Oregon area. So we fly our kids out of San Jose into Oregon, and then the bus takes them there. And there are hundreds of young people who are there for a week. And it is our policy to leave no one behind. So we're raising money to send our advisors and to help provide scholarships for students. The overall for everybody to be able to do everything that we're raising now is $2,800. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's made a contribution to that, and particularly to acknowledge Reverend Eileen Atanasio, our teen minister, for all of her efforts in doing that. You'll see on your screen coming up, there are some very specific ways that you can make contributions to Inner Light, and put in a little something extra in there for teen camp. If you feel so moved, you can also do reoccurring donations, and those are so what's the word I'm looking for? They are so sustaining, because that's what we use to be able to do the work that we do on a continuous basis. You'll see there's a QR code there on your screen. You can put your mobile phone onto that, and it'll lead you straight to the donation page. You can also go to our website, and there's a donate button. You can click there. You can text to give as well, or use Cash App, $ Inner Light Ministries. And regardless of how it is that you make your contribution, know that it is truly appreciated, and that it goes to excellent use. And I invite you, even as you're preparing your donation now, to repeat with me this prayer of multiplication. My every act produces abundance. I dare to give freely unto the truth that sets us free. We release our gifts, knowing that they return to us a thousandfold. May you be blessed by the generosity of your own giving. Thank you. I also want to remind you that if you are watching this now in real time, which would be close to about 11:30 Pacific time on Sunday morning, hop into our Zoom group. We have a virtual meeting room that's open there. There are people to greet you. They're coming in from all over the place, from Brazil and Denmark and across the country. And it's just an extraordinary time to get to know some people. So whether it's your very first time, or whether you've been with Inner Light for a while, we invite you to come and just fellowship with us a while. It's a great opportunity, and you have a chance to meet in breakout groups and to actually have some discussion and some dialogue with people. We offer you that virtual experience every Sunday after service. So, on that note, I am going to invite Leah Morris back to give us a closing song and to share a little bit about how you can find out more about her and her work. Looks like it's muted.
Hello, and once again, thank you for the invitation and the opportunity to be with you this morning. The image that will continue to stay with me is of the rocket, and that 5% of the time it's moving in the intended direction, and the rest of the time it's calibrating. That is just so rich for me. That resonates, and I will remember that when I feel like I may not be exactly in alignment, that can be corrected, and it's all right that I'm in correction mode. So if you are enjoying the music and you'd like to receive more, my website is thisisleah.com. Leah spelled Lea. Just like I'd answer the phone, thisisleah.com. And I'd like to sing one more song that is called Becoming Me, as we all always are. Who I am today will not be who I am tomorrow. Who I am tomorrow will keep changing every day. All the things I've learned might fill my heart with joy or sorrow. Everything I learn might make me want to change my ways, but there is nothing, no thing that ever stays the same. That is the one thing, one thing that life does guarantee. There is no one on earth, no one who knows what path their life will take. No one knows what I will see as I keep becoming me. The family you were born in does not dictate who you marry. The country you were raised in does not dictate where you are buried. All you once believed might leave you stranded on an island where the only way back home is to abandon it as lies, and there is nothing, no thing that ever stays the same. That is the one thing, the one thing life does guarantee. There is no one on earth, no one who knows what course their life will take. No one knows what I will see as I keep becoming me. Becoming me, I must stay open to the change. Curious and free, and always ready to be rearranged. There is nothing that ever stays the same. That is the one thing that life does guarantee. There is no one on earth, no one who knows what path my life will take, and no one knows what they will see. But I'll keep becoming me, gonna keep becoming me. Yes, I'll keep becoming me, keep becoming.
Well, all right, all right. Let us take this consciousness and multiply it. See you next week. All right.